For me on the prediction end, I'm going to say that maybe the Legion have finally worked out some of their assault-based woes, and they're actually going to go up 2-1, where I do think, as you take a look at this, I'm not sure I agree with Fusion bringing it to Anubis. I think if they bring it to Volskaya, at times it could work out a little bit more in their edge, because Volskaya has more room for DPS players to have heroic plays over Anubis, I feel like.
Yeah, Tracer Genji, especially on point B of Volskaya, is so deadly here, and we get to see, because of how close quarters point B is, it's very hard for a Genji to really try and succeed with a blade. So we'll see if Who Are You carries this on over if they take point A.
Well, Fusion, meanwhile, you were thinking about the ideas that, well, we see Zachary the Widow right now. He's looking more towards Hanzo. Could just be for a quick Sonic Arrow, but this does give Fusion the ability to be sort of overpowering with the Hanzo early on, and for now, Zachary is going to be sticking on it.
Yeah, finally we're seeing two supports there coming up from the Legion here on point A of Anubis, which we didn't see in our matchup before. They were going a lot for that triple tank setup, solo support. Corey, just frontline Widowmaker playing behind, almost tags Elk there, taking him out. But we have Fusion University just resetting for this next dive. Here they go. The halt shuts down the dive from Beast Halo.
Corey, though, isn't able to get on ahead early on. Still did enough to Zachary to make sure he was out of the fight. And yeah, I mean, if you're Corey right now and you know your main threat is Zachary, why even give Zachary the chance to land the arrow? Just sit behind the shield where he can't do anything. Speaking of sitting behind things, Who Are You? Sitting behind the entirety of the Legion on the point. And while that was going on, Rolf got randomly grabbed, and this is working out pretty well for the Fusion. Zachary secured not one, but 2 picks.
Blase is trying to turn this back in their favor as Pooks brings Corey back into this, but still looks like we do have a few members caught behind enemy lines as Beast Halo tries his best to take out Corey, but he gets punished for it.
He wasn't even close there. I think he thought he was going to get a lot more backup than expected. Both tanks of the Fusion are down. Corey gets to grapple his way back on over and look for Zachary on the other side. Gets alarmed, and the Legion withstand.
That left me literally scratching my head, confused as to what their approach was there coming up from Fusion University. Now they've basically just squandered away a minute and a half. Who Are You wasn't even able to secure 1 tick. Now, coming into this, it's going to be off the back of Who Are You's blade. We'll see. But Blase might be able to shut this down.
Directed by Michael Bay this summer. Exploding Tire versus Dragon Blade. And, well, actually, it doesn't even happen that way. Not enough explosions for his tastes. But it's an easy stagger coming out here from the Legion.
And Rolf was bought enough time to try and build up a Transcendence. Now he's gonna have it. So Who Are You goes down to Corey once again. This is looking similar to the offense we saw earlier today in the Mayhem versus GGEA game, where the Orisa and Roadhog combo, along with the Roadhog, or excuse me, Junkrat, were able to shut down the offense. Now Fusion University really up against it.
And I would say here it's a little bit different because I'm not sure GGA was up against nearly as much pressure as Fusion is here. Corey's been on fire with his Widowmaker here so far, has to back out. Plus gets Beast Halo, but now Corey sees Who Are You in the back line, sees nothing but death, but gets saved on the other end! What a whole hog from Gods! Able to get Who Are You off Corey's case. Pankar res back up, and that was MVP saves coming out from Gods. Absolutely nutty.
Now, luckily for Fusion University there, at the tail end, Beast Halo does take out Pooks. And so, they're going to be without a mercy for a moment, but Who Are You? Taking out the tire will get rid of that threat. Now, Corey's going to go ahead and try and taxi Pooks back into this. We'll see if Fusion University can take advantage of this momentary lapse of the Mercy presence.
I mean, they have a good opportunity here. There's also not much in the way of ults for Legion, but Corey, well, took away one opportunity, gets taken down on the other end. Both Mercies go, get back up and try again. So essentially, not much has changed, but both teams now dealing with their mulligan being gone. The Fusion slow things down a little bit as they work around the outskirts, and the Legion have time to catch their breath.
But they are slowly running, or quickly running out of time as they're now down to 22 seconds here. Pooks did get hit by some shurikens. It's Blase that gets hit by some headshots.
Blase, though, wasn't fatal. Gets a chance to get healed back up, and Who Are You? Nowhere to go. Gods finishes him off. And I'm not sure why Who Are You was so deep there. Didn't quite get the opportunity he's looking for. Zachary, though, opens it up. Gets Corey on the other side. 2 down. Res back up. Zachary goes to high ground. Looking now for his counterpart on the right-hand side. For now, sees a Junkrat that's being contained. Blase out of it. but Pooks is gonna go to the skies here on the other end. About to use Valkyrie, and now Legion starting to fight this back. The Fusion have not been able to put this away here just yet. Zachary looking for pickoffs. And it is back and forth, but the Fusion, they invest a little bit more, they dive on in, they evict the Legion from that cubby hole, and even as Roof comes back in, it's probably not gonna be enough, but man, the Fusion have been taking the task.
Yeah, in overtime, Fusion University will finally be able to scrap it out. And ultimately, it was just the split-up nature of that team fight. We saw Bernard actually try to focus down Blase on the high ground, and Pooks went over to pocket him. Still, though, through that Bernard, of course, you have the burst damage of the micro missiles, the micro rockets coming out from the Diva. He was able to deal with him, and because Pooks wasn't healing anyone else, the tank line of Legion ultimately fall now. So we do have the swap-offs coming out from the Corey going over to the Brigitte as God and Panker go over to the...
You're gonna see the play come out here. They got the early pickoff, so Huaryu's gonna try and finish it, but they have to be aware of where the tire is. They've already gotten two. This tire is actually the Legion's best hope of bringing back around. Zachary's looking for it, and no, not able to get on the wins on the other end. Zachary, though, falls, was looking at the tire, wasn't looking at Rulf. He respawned, comes back in from that left-hand side. Zachary brought back up. Who are you still holding on to that blade? It's laying up in the fight. A Mercy's point blank. Oh, save! What a save for the Legion tanks again. Bodyguard gets Who Are You. Blase finishes off on the other side. And this has been excellent Who Are You containment coming out from Gods and Panker.
Pooks should have been dead there. He GA'd right in the face of Who Are You, almost baiting him back to the rest of the team. So I don't know, maybe it was just 900 IQ plays coming out from Pooks to really bait Who Are You into that. And so now, again, Who Are You shut down on that Genji, has to build up another blade here. Elk swaps over to the Lucio. And so they're going to go for the triple support as Zachary goes over to the Brigitte, and they just want to get onto the point and try and bully the Legion off of it. We'll see if they can do that. Now, as Blase with the Storm Arrows getting some good damage in.
They got Gods here holding on to the self-destruct. It's going to be the self-destruct first coming in from the Fusion. Bernard not getting too much there. Gods, guerrilla warfare right now, just sitting in the trenches. Ends up going back up and over towards a point, focusing on Bernard. Late Transcendence out from Alarm. Don't know if Fusion want to use it there. They're already kind of low to begin with. It was a rough fight. Now the Transcendence fades. Dragon Strike from Blase. Catches Pay Dirt. Gets two on the other end. And that was bad ult economy coming out from the Fusion, but an even better response from the Legion.
What's really important there at the end, even though Fusion University lost that fight, Beast Halo and Bernard survived. And so that means that Elk is going to get some much needed healing off of them, putting him over at 55% towards that sound barrier, but still so far away from it now. Fusion University, it's coming down to the wire, a minute 30 seconds left, and they really don't have much to work off of. While Gladiators Legion, they've got the Transcendence, they've got Gods and Self-Destruct just to try and delay this on out.
Nice harass coming in from Panker, building up towards Primal Rage. I just wonder where Who Are You confidence is right now, where, okay, Corey's down. Can he follow this back up? Because every time Who Are You pulls out Blade, he just gets bounced into the wall by one of two tanks. Elk's out of the fight. And now, again, I look towards Who Are You, getting focused down so heavily that he can't even find good opportunities early on. Fusion ends up backing out a bit. And for now, look at how heavily Who Are You's getting checked.
You cannot die here, Who Are You? He's got the blade, and he's the only one that can really try and open up this point for his team. Fusion University, they haven't secured a single tick yet as the rally is used by Zachary, and now they're going to try and go in for the dive, but Who Are You still hasn't found an entrance.
It's such nice disengage from the Legion tanks there. They get themselves out of a rough situation. Gods is going to get healed back up. Who Are You is petrified. No confidence to pull out a blade at all right now. Transcendence comes on in, or you still not gonna pull out the blade. And part of it is that, of course, Wolf has a Transcend on the other end. And look towards Who Are You. It's a man who really does not know when he can use his ultimate. He's been frozen the entire time. Again, Panker's in his face. When does he have time to breathe? He doesn't. And the entire Fusion offense is waiting for this right now, and the Legion are playing so masterfully to shut it down. Finally, the blade comes down. Gods is right in his face again. And Who Are You? Can't find it, but while that's going on, they weren't looking at Bernard. Two end up getting blown up, and the Fusion still have a chance.
All right, we're in overtime now. 2 ticks already secured by Fusion University. Now, we do have Gods able to stall out for now, but he gets cleaned up. And it looks like Fusion University, just in the nick of time, just like the first point, are able to secure it. but that was not in clean fashion whatsoever.
Also, that had to be the most frustrating thing ever for Who Are You, where he was constantly looking. It's like, when can I use this without 2 tanks in my face? When can I use it? Finally thinks he has an opportunity, and God's just like, hiya, comes from the other side, just like, okay, that...
He had the patience of a saint there. He also had to deal with Panker, who was using Primal Rage there, so even if he did get in without Gods in his face, odds were that Panker would just have batted him around and made sure he got nothing of that blade once again. Legion completely understand how the Fusion University squad want to win these fights, and they have been shutting them down every single time. Who Are You has not been able to do much whatsoever. Now, as the shoe might be on the foot, Fusion University, they're going to be on the defense here. They are going to go for that solo support composition. Who Are You on the Junkrat, as Zachary, of course, on the Widowmaker, who's been, you know, oddly quiet now in this third map in the series.
I mean, I just wonder what opportunities has he really had relative to before, where the Legion are playing sightlines really well. I would say their positional play that we've been seeing is some of the highest caliber we've seen so far in Contenders, where that, you know, it didn't even feel like Fusion was playing bad in a lot of those instances, but Legion was playing some very, very high-quality Overwatch.
No, that was just perfect zone defense coming up from Gladiators Legion there. They had everyone, you know, going for that 2-for-1 onto Who Are You, making sure that he was being contained there. Panker and Gods, tank line of Legion really shutting that down, and of course because they created that space, but because they were shutting down Who Are You, that allowed Blase and Corey to really shine there, which has kind of been the MO of Legion, right, for the last season and a half now. Panker and Gods create space, Blase and Corey do damage, and they've been able to. Now they're going to go for the full dive here on their offense up against Fusion University, so Elk has to be careful in his positioning here, as he is the only support on the defense.
Full dive has been the flavor right now for Anubis, where we'll see how the Legion decide to go about it. Certainly GGA looked a little bit off earlier in the night when they're in the same position, but already from the Legion, it feels like Blase's on a better approach right now, gets good damage to the backline. You see the tanks are already there, but Panker is blown up early. I'm still okay with that. That's a clean early attempt. It's not holding around at the gate forever, waiting for the opportunity. Panker's back up and in. Chaos is being sown into the backline here, and Zachary, 12 HP, barely gets towards the health pack, but still nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Taken on down, and the Legion might have just done critical damage to this Fusion defense.
Elk is alive here, so there is an opportunity, but as Beast Halo falls, Who Are You is trying to keep this alive for his team. They haven't secured the tick yet, do the Legion. They are forced back. There we go. They finally at least secure that, so the last minute doesn't go in vain.
Oh no.
Oh, Blase caught in the trap.
Who Are You bringing this back here, and scary stuff for the Fusion with how that began. And I'm just happy to see a team come out with a well-executed dive here at Anubis. Teams have been so scared to dive on in, and Legion, they took the bull by the horns there, so to speak.
Yeah, I know. A lot of the attacks we saw today, teams just, you know, milling about here, getting caught out by, of course, the Orisa Halt and such. But now Beast Halo did have to swap off, so they don't have the Orisa anymore. They're going to have to use the counter dive kind of strategy here. Beast Halo jumps on out, but Corey is trying their best to pepper him on down. The high ground is maintained by the Fusion University squad, but here comes the blade from Blase. He is right on Zachary, will take him out.
Zachary had nowhere to go there, immediately sliced on down. Off the dash, 3 unanswered kills here from the Legion, and they only need a little bit more. Elk might be flying there with the Valkyrie, but it does not matter. More used down, and this is far too much to overcome. The Legion will be grabbing point A, and they'll have a very nice time bank to go in with to point B. And remember, if they do it with over a minute, the map will essentially be theirs.
Yep, 6 minutes and about 35 seconds will be left on the clock for the Legion to move on to the second point to try and capture it. And they do have some tools that they can try and use to snowball into this. They just got to make sure that Who Are You doesn't get up this Riptire, but of course, it's a Junkrat, only 13% away. We'll see if they can disrupt that. But Panker, of course, with the Primal Rage, Rolf with the Transcendence, they have a lot of sustain to try and stay onto the point, and especially buy time for Blase and Corey to find some crucial picks.
All right, Panker moving his way on in. Primal Rage Prime. Blase gonna be staying in the skies, and the key here for the offense, don't get run over by the Tire. Tire gonna be coming in from the left flank. You see the Legion immediately backing up, and it's not in time, but it's still okay. It only got Corey. They're able to res back up, and it's not that full team fight delay that the Fusion might have been looking for.
Laze, a little bit behind enemy lines there, but now they're gonna go ahead and get aggressive onto the Widowmaker, but take a look, Bernard is already there, trying to shut it down, but Gods turns around with the micro rockets, taking out Zachary. That's 2 kills going over.
It's a nice Transcend too, the Transcend well placed. Everyone's staying nice and alive. Blase was low, but now he's back high, coming back the other way. Corey coming in on the ground, Storm Arrows leading the way. Zachary almost falling again. Dragon Strike gonna cover the spawn. It's gonna be even harder for Fusion to come back out here in the moment. Last chance. Transcend coming out from Alarm, but no one is there to benefit from it. It's merely delay. The Legion are setting up their tents. They're getting their sortie here on the point, and this could be the end of the Fusion here on Anubis, as the Legion only need a little bit more.
Just a little bit more here. They've got 4 minutes to do it as Zachary comes out with the emergency Doomfist to take out Rolf. But will that be enough? Blase uses the barrage, gets taken on out. It looks like Fusion University have finally weathered the storm and sent Legion packing.
Who are you? Holding on to the blade? Doesn't feel like bloodlust. Use the blade now. Okay, have it. Oh, what? I think God was just taking it. I don't think. I think he figured it would be quicker to respawn.
Just end me, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got no ledges to jump off of. Just end me. And now, Fusion University. They were able to weather the storm, but damage was done. 2 ticks were secured by the Legion here, and they understand that now they just need one big team fight win, and they've got 3 minutes to do it here.
And they have the Transcend already up. Genji being like, please shoot me, and Corey goes, nah, I'm good. Shimada Patience in action. The Legion now taking their time, where holding the Transcend versus the Blade can be important. Storm Arrows coming on now. Panker now getting a little bit more aggressive. Primal Rage in reserve. The fight. Oh! Who are you's already down. They were really banking on his blade. Now Rolf can transcend at any point. Doesn't have to worry as much. Problem, of course, that Panker's out of the fight. Pooks is down. Not gonna be able to bring it back up. And this Transcend from Rolf, a little bit too little, too late.
Yeah, they don't like it, so they will just go ahead and back away. And things were looking good up until they lost another member there, as Beast Halo had fallen also in that last fight. Super close to that Primal Rage. He dropped that about 95 HP. He will have it for this next fight. This is going to be crucial if he can get in there and disrupt Blase so that Who Are You can get a good blade off up against the Legion now, who are down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds here.
Legion, both tank ultimates up. The Fusion, though, working with way more. Alarm lucky not to get picked off. Corey, good sight lines here on the top. Oh, they get Beast Halo, and he's not super resable either, so Fusion now down 1. They're gonna rally and try and bring it back up. Just look at that control! What a turnaround! Who Are You had nowhere to go! That was excellent coming out from Blase.
Bernard.
But Bernard retains control for the Fusion, the self-destruct, just what they needed. What a play from Bernard.
Whew. That was just...
Who Are You got destroyed.
Yeah, incredible plays coming out from both sides, but you saw instantly as Who Are You, the voice line comes out, the blade comes out, Blase turns his head and shuts him down. And that's what the Legion have been so good about. Just shutting down Who Are You, making sure that he cannot succeed. And, well, honestly, who else is supposed to succeed on this squad for Fusion University, as Zachary is over on the Brigitte himself?
20 seconds now, 16 left for the Legion to try and get a clean take. The Fusion might have held on for long enough. Late Transcend up here for the Legion. They're already down 2. This push over. They get one more attempt, but no matter what, the Fusion will get another crack at this, even if the Legion get through.
Panker just trying his best to force out the Transcendence from Alarm, but he understands we've won the team fight. He will be able to hold on to it coming to this next fight. Zachary, he's gonna have the rally as Corey gets taken out by Who Are You.
Yeah, the Legion have been staggering. They've been giving up free kills. Now they have to wait once more. They get one more solid attack, and they're gonna be doing into a Transcendence and likely a blade from Who Are You.
Corey's gonna go ahead and swap off on to the Pharah here, which did work out well for them on their earlier attacks. I don't know why they swapped off, and you know, it was successful for them. But now, he's got to do it in the face of a blade, in the face of a rally, along with the Transcendence. Bernard might even have a self-destruct coming into this next fight. God's already dropping out low. He might have to use it just to get his thing back. But there we go. The blade comes out from Who Are You?
Oh, God!
What's a two-man Beast Halo and who are you gone?
Gods takes the page at Bernard's book, but again, I think it's a little bit late. The Fusion with a man advantage here. Rule gets brought back up into the fray. It's not quite over yet, but Gods is down. Who's gonna save the Legion now? Who is your God now? And spoiler, not actually Gods. Bernard, self-destruct set up. And now, do you end it the way that all these fights have an ending? Do you go with a bang? The Legion still in this, and they weren't able to finish off Blase. He actually got Zachary.
Self-destruct as Blase falls to Beast Halo, and now they're all split up. Who are you is back into this, and this is the environment where he thrives, where it's just absolutely chaos. From there, Fusion University are cleaning up. It's just Gods left onto the point. And what looked like should have been a Legion victory, Fusion University just take it back. And they will walk away the victors, and now they're in the lead 2-1.
I'm not really surprised by this either. I mean, even though on paper, the Legion should be good on Assault, they're not good at point B attacks. They have never been good at point B attacks, and it kind of showed here where they were close, but not close enough.
Right, but yes, Fusion took it, but like the whole time I was thinking, who are you? You are bullied. Like he kept getting bullied so hard. I was impressed for Legion just focusing him and really keeping him out of the fight until he got his blade and destroyed everything.
Oh, it was actually comical. That last Dragon Blade was
hilarious.
We get the free cam view where he's just coming in over the top. Blase just turns like, sup, bruh? Just immediately takes him down. It's like, well, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was a thing that teams realized back in Apex, you know, shut down Who Are You, and then Lunatic High, they're not going to be able to perform as well here. But unfortunately, this time around, you know, there was too much, I think, reliance upon trying to control Who Are You that you kind of forget that there are other stars on the team, like Bernard, coming up with some huge plays, and also trying to have your own win condition in these fights. When you're allocating so many resources, three different heroes really just to shut down Who Are You, then what's your win condition? How do you win out these fights? And I felt like they kind of just lost sight of that because they were doing a great job when they had the Pharah before, and that could have been their win condition.
Yeah, also, I mean, Bernard had some sneaky bombs. I liked what he did on the pillar in Anubis where, you know, you set the Diva self-destruct in such a way that it kind of clips on the pillar for a little bit and then comes out at an angle you're not expecting. Bernard was the glue that kept the Fusion in this, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure if that would have been the same case with Crackalakin back earlier in the season, so that upgrade in the sense that the Fusion have done, actually, I think, pulling them out of the fire here, but bear in mind, series not over yet.
It's true, we still have one more map to go, or two, we don't know. Do you think we're going to see map 5?
My original prediction was map 5, and I'm standing by it.
Yeah?
You know what? Yeah, I'm going to have to go with that map 5, and I don't even know if Fusion can actually win this out. Even though they took this victory here on Anubis, Watchpoint Gibraltar is a completely different beast. This is a point where, well, it's Winston's playground. Like,
yeah, it's a completely different beast in two ways. That it's both the general sense of the term and also that Beast Halo is going to be tested here as you go to Gibraltar, a map that the Legion are very comfortable on. Obviously, they ended up falling on to LNL, but I do think Legion's looking way better today than they did against LNL a week ago. A week ago felt like more of an aberration. This feels more like vintage Legion, so given the fact that we are heading to a Winston Widow playground, I think this is going to be good for the Legion.
I was going to say, this is a very sniper-heavy map, so we're going to look for our Widow v. Widow battles, which should be fun for both of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, Widow's also along with Zenyatta's, and we got to see what LNL were able to do last week up against the Legion, especially here on this map. And when we talk about that, we have to talk about Dogman in that matchup where he held a very powerful position in the high ground there with the Zenyatta. Alarm, you have to remember, is also a very deadly Zenyatta. So we'll see if Legion can actually shut that down.
So going into this map, knowing what we know about these two teams, who do you think will take it?
I think, like I said, we're going to go map 5. I think Legion is going to take Gibraltar, and then all bets are off as we enter into Control.
Yeah, agreed?
I think so too, yeah.
All right, well, it's time to see what will happen, I think.
All right, into Gibraltar. Fusion going to be on the first defense here, and Elk, stop. Just stop.
Do it to him.
Nah, you're not doing this. I don't even believe for a second.
I do like Torben here on point A defense of Gibraltar. It's just not.
Yeah, you run back to spawn. You run back to spawn.
Now, Alarm on the Ana,
Wait.
of all things.
What?
Might actually be a thing. Well,
No, he can still drop down. I refuse to believe this is anything but a long con, but now we've gotten to a point that it's going to be a little bit trickier here. Are you
Okay,
really
so-
going to run without a Mercy?
So that's really interesting. The setup there is basically bait out the tanks to jump onto the high ground. And when they do, of course, you have that turret on the blue tarp there that people aren't actually going to see. So as they jump into an antibiotic nade and do all the damage coming out from Elk. Still, this is risky. So
this is one of those things where hindsight is truly the main decider, where if it works, I'll be like, wow, brilliant. Legion didn't have an answer for it. The Torbjorn caught him off guard. If it doesn't work, which is the more likely answer, to be like, Fusion, what you doing? Especially because they need this map to finish off the series, so we'll see.
this is a huge gamble. I completely agree with you. And already the Alarm getting some good heals off, good damage off right now, as the payload does make the bend. So Legion, they back off onto the server room as they want to go ahead and use these stairs to try and get into high ground, but who are you going to zone them out with, of course, that Junkrat? They do deal with the turret, but it's Fusion University now readjusting their position.
And they're on a power play for the Legion, essentially. The turret's not going to be up for a while. The Torbjorn, essentially, with lower effect. By the way, the payload almost there, so this is a little bit awkward. I mean, I will say is that if they're able to hold this next push, the Legion will have lost an enormous amount of time, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's already a minute and 20 seconds now dwindled as they jump onto the high ground to try and force down Zachary's. We already have the Valkyrie being used by Legion.
Well, part of that is that they took so much glancing damage from the turret, they were able to heal it up safely. I mean, the turret doesn't know not to feed ult. It's a turret. It does what it wants to do. Bernard, D-Mac, Blase, finishes him off. And Blase actually in a nice position here. So they only need a little bit more. Note that Elk is rather close to Molten Core. Panker tried to dive in, got punished. So Torbjorn so far is kind of working out, and Elk might be turning up the heat.
Molten Core coming out, as it looks like they are going to be able to get the resurrection off on to Panker there, but will Gods be able to survive with this mech? He's trying to back away. Who are you? Goes for the flank. That allows Zachary to get the pick off onto Corey. Now here we go. The Riptire comes out, but Zachary might have already stopped this.
All right. Well, it's a minute 45, and the
What is going
Torbjorn,
on?
there's no mercy in play. It's an Ana Torb defense. This is a thing that people throw over in comp games, and it's actually working out pretty well for the Fusion here. I think part of it is the Legion's like, wait, what are we even looking at?
Yeah, I mean, with the way that, of course, the spawn exits, I guess, for the defense work, they're able to just stay into one corner there. Legion funneled themselves into it, and you have to remember that, you know, Torbjorn does have an alternative fire, so if Panker gets in too close, well, he's gonna take a lot of scrap to the face.
Well, the Dragon's gonna come in here, and oh, it just funnels Who Are You directly into Corey. Panker deals with the turret on the other end. This time, no Molten Core close to coming out. And this is looking pretty good for the Legion. It's a clean early setup. They're able to move forward. I can't imagine how the Fusion could even delay this here at this point. It's just too much to deal with. And unlike other times, Bernard doesn't have an emergency self-destruct to save them out of this fight.
But the delay is the most important part here. This is the point where a lot of teams can get rolled over. And so now, you know, 40 seconds, that's what's left on the Legion's clock. They move on to the second phase. Molten Core comes back. They're going to try and fight back into this beast. Halo takes out Panker, but Alarm has fallen, so they don't have any more supports. No more healing for Fusion University.
And yet the Legion still can't push this through. They've been dominating the kill feed the last little part. You have the Dragon coming in on the other side, gonna do plenty of damage.
T-Mac.
But the delay from Fusion, they are losing well right now. It's
Factory on Lucio.
By the way, Legion still haven't gone on the like they had such an edge, but they haven't been able to push it the last meter. Who Are You is down. Blase is still here. It's still looking decent for the Legion, but the tenacity of the Fusion here.
Oh no, Panker's down again.
Yeah, Panker's out of it. Now respawns are back in. Elka swapped it to Moira, and the
Overtime.
hold is actually happening.
What is going on in this match? Zachary's on Lucio. Beast Halo absolutely fragging out right now with the Orisa.
No way.
And somehow Fusion University
Okay.
will hold on and put a hold onto the Legion here on the first point.
I think the thing that blows my mind is that, okay, I get that the Torbjorn threw them off guard for a while, but there was an enormous edge that the Legion were working with there in terms of early pickoffs, and they still weren't able to remove the fusion from the point. I mean, credit where credit's due to both Beast Halo and Bernard there, but really? That was a thing?
I'm going to be all up in Elk stream later on trying to figure this one out. The Legion just were not able to crack the nut of the Torbjorn defense, the Torbjorn Orisa defense. And, you know, Fusion University, it looked like they did have a game plan for it. They had the high ground. They forced Legion to spend time to try and position themselves so that they can challenge Fusion University on the high ground, who end up just, you know, giving it up, repositioning down on the lower left-hand side, and then from there, just turtling up in the corner, continually contesting the payload that entire time.
I'm a little bit put off by how the Legion didn't dive in at key moments of power. Like early on, they dealt with the turret, and then they immediately sniped the new turret. That is a window where Torbjorn is basically doing nothing. He's down like a key aspect. I mean, yeah, I mean, it could be deadlier than people expect, but there was a key moment to dive in there that was not taken. I mean, part of it too is that I would say that the average team in Overwatch is not very experienced in dealing with Torb. If they saw that another 3 times, it'd probably be easier to deal with, but the Legion did not have an answer that time.
Yeah, generally, it's just throw all your divers onto the turret, deflect it, get rid of it, and then from there, just chase down the rest of the team. They just weren't able to do that because it was excellent positioning coming out from Fusion University, really taking advantage of the landscape of the last phase there. Jump comes out from Beast Halo. He's not able to make it up top because we do have the full dive. Actually, never mind. It's a triple DPS composition for Fusion University. Bernard's on the Tracer.
Shades of old school Overwatch right here. You see 3 DPS.
Give us the Soldier 76 instead, yeah. So now Legion, they're going to try their best to hold on here. It's 3 minutes and 30 seconds left, and only 30 more meters that Fusion University have to push this. We'll see if they can shut down this dive coming out from Fusion University. Blase is on, of course, that Brigitte, but the dive comes out onto the high ground.
That was a nice chance by Bernard, too. Immediately went in after the snipe shot missed. Dives to the back and picks up 2 D-Meching Gods, taking down Rolf, grabbing Corey for the full set. And that is swift, that's decisive, and that's going to be Fusion taking the series 3-1. Panker just a little bit slow, but it did not matter anyway.
What is it with Korean players and just being able to flex off onto Tracer? Like, we saw Alarm do it, we saw Kariv do it, and now we saw Bernard do it.
I mean, it was solid execution, too. I mean, as soon as that snipe shot missed, immediately in, applying the pressure, and cleaned up into the back line.
We have to talk about the Torb, though. Like, that happened.
The engineer in the room?
It did.
We have to talk about the engineer in the room. That Torb turtle, as I'm now going to call it, was...
Torbtis.
I mean, in a sense, it felt like it just shook the confidence of the Legion because there are definitely moments where, okay, Torbjorn is either dead, disabled, or doesn't have a turret. You can dive on in, but the Legion literally had as much as a 3-man advantage at points here, and they were unable to pierce on through. Like,
they were literally shooketh by the Torbjorn pick there.
I'm kicking you off this desk. I swear, Torb did.
She is really shooketh.
Shooketh.
But yeah, I mean, going into that, I would say more than anything else, I mean, I just think the Legion were dealing with unfamiliarity there. But credit where credit's due, that was one of the more ridiculous stalls I've ever seen from a team. And the Fusion made it work. It certainly caught the Legion off guard on a map that has historically been more to their strength. So well done to the Fusion for being able to pull this out.
And well done to Bernard here as well, let's just say.
Yeah, honestly, all the Korean players, it seems like so far, able to flex off onto that. We saw Hagapun do it earlier, and he was also a very deadly Tracer. But I think one of the biggest things here for Legion is, yeah, you had mentioned it, right? They're in unfamiliar territory. How do we play against this composition? And that's where we saw like a breakdown in communication. Gods and Panker weren't working as like the kind of same unit they have this entire series. And then from there, it just all fell apart. Blase and Corey were barely able to do anything at all because, well, their tank line was in complete just disarrayment.
Also, I mean, let's talk about the Ana there as well, where the bio-nades were getting incredible value. Also, I mean, again, as anyone who's played competition knows that if you go into any game, it's like, yeah, I know our support set, we're going to be running with a Torbjorn Ana. You're going to have people be more than a little tilted. So the fact that they ran that, the fact that it worked, bravo to the Fusion.
I'm thoroughly impressed that we saw a Torb comp work and that 2 Molten Cores got off. Like that...
They weren't
I'm
even like
proud.
at the best times either.
No.
There was one point where, yeah, they had already basically won the team fight. They had like a 2-man advantage, and then Elk's like, I'm gonna go ahead and use it because I want to chase down the Winston. I don't know what happened in this match.
It was very interesting, but we're gonna take a quick break and recover after that dose of Torbjorn. And coming up next, we will be seeing LNL go up against Second Wind. So you are not gonna want to miss that, especially if we see more Torbs.